I'd like to call to order this Dearborn Board of Education meeting for September 14th, 2015. We have a roll call, please.
Miriam Bazzi.
Here.
Joseph Guido.
Joe is not going to be able to make it tonight.
Okay. Fedwa Hamoud.
Here.
Mary Lane is present. Michael Mead.
Here.
Mary Petchlikoff.
Here.
President Roxanne McDonald.
Here. Next item, please.
Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Ms. Rima Hassan, principal of Becker Elementary, will introduce students who will lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, Superintendent Maleko. Guys, come over here.
Come over there.
Guys.
Yes, ma'am.
Trusted board members, I have Mohamed Faraj here and Malak Savir, who will lead us with the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We know we get the extra pledges from the schools.
I have some certificates for you. Mohammed? There you go. Well done. Malak? Well done. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Next item, please.
Superintendent's update, agenda items.
I'd like to first ask for a moment of silence. We had a tragedy over the weekend on Friday night. We had a former student that passed away, Ali Al-Janabi, and his brother. They were in a car accident, and his brother's currently in the hospital in stable condition, but has been injured. So if we could just observe a moment of silence on their behalf. Thank you. The next thing I have on an agenda item, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Gail Shankman on her retirement. I know she's done a great job over many years, 27 years. And yeah, come on up, Gail, if you want to come to the microphone. She has a retirement party coming up Friday. I apologize, I will not be there because I'm out of town with my daughter's hockey team, but I wish you all the best, and I thank you for all of the positive things that you've done over the years to a lot of students for the district. So if we could maybe show our appreciation for that. Yes.
Okay, good. I just want to thank the board, Superintendent Maleko, parents, students in the community, especially parents, honestly, for trusting me to work with your children over the course of the last 27 years. I've enjoyed being in Dearborn. I've enjoyed doing really important work. Former board president, Amy Shellis, when she said something and she left, she said that it was making a difference is very important and leaving the world a better place because you've been there. I feel that I've been able to contribute, and I appreciate the trust that the district has given to me in being able to work here in Dearborn and I think and I hope make a difference in students' lives. So thank you very much.
I have to add my 2 cents. I've worked with Dr. Shankman on several issues, or several programs. We worked on the anti-bullying, responsive bullying behavior initiative, and I just have to say that she has been instrumental in so many of the outstanding programs that we offer our students. A lot of times they were her brainchild, and she spearheaded efforts, and I just have to say that she's done an outstanding job for our students in this district, and we're a much better district because of her leadership and her efforts. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I wish you well in California with your grandchildren. Next item, please. Mary. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say also that although Dr. Shankman is leaving, and endings are always tough, she'll leave us, but you're not the only one. She'll leave, but she leaves behind a corpus of work that is enviable for a lot of people. She knows education in and out. She's toiled so diligently, particularly for certain groups of students. And when I think of her, oh, I'm going to get teary even. I'll always think of the vulnerable people because Gail has cared so much about making sure that there were programs for all kids. So you leave behind your work, and your work is a testament to who you are, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Go ahead, Mary.
And I too have known Dr. Schenkman for many, many years. And even during her days at Woodworth and on up. And the one thing I will say is that I always respected about her was that if she had a brainchild and it wasn't working the way she had anticipated it was, she was always willing to say, we need to change this, we need to make it right. Her first and foremost efforts were going towards the success of the students, always were her mission for any program that she came up with, and she always thought outside of the box for a lot of these solutions to some of our more challenging issues that we faced over the years, especially with high school graduation. And I know she's going to move forward into a job that I think is going to perfectly fit those things that she saw firsthand here and bring it out on a broader scale to the nation. And we know that that's something that's needed everywhere. So I just hope that we can fill her shoes with somebody who carries on that legacy.
I want to add one other thing. I admire her so much, and the work that she's done. We talked about programs and initiatives, but I have also seen her take a vulnerable student individually and lift them up and help them in their own successful lives. So just kudos to you and good luck.
Thank you.
You will be missed. Anyone else? Next item, please.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So I have a non-agenda item. I have a couple of announcements. One is that we're starting the new superintendent advisory committee, or the student advisory committee to the superintendent, and applications were distributed through the high school. So we're going to be taking applications in September, and we'll hopefully have that situated in October so that we can listen to our students and some of the issues or concerns or ideas they have. The other thing I wanted to announce is that right now, this evening, we're interviewing some candidates for the Woodworth principal position. The administrative interviews were last week, and the board members have a copy of the memo. Tonight it's before the parent and staff committee, and so we'd like to, if we're ready with a candidate, we'd like to actually put that on the board agenda at the college meeting next Monday. I know normally we don't, but I want to let everybody know that just for operational reasons, rather than waiting a full month into October. We may also have a bullying policy that may need to be voted on. I know it's on a discussion item, and that may also be on the college agenda for approval next Monday as well. So normally we don't do that, but we want to let everybody know, the public, that we do have a couple of P12 items that will be discussed or addressed there at the college.
It happens every once in a while.
We try not to, but it does. Some things are time sensitive. Okay. Now, next item, please.
Citizen participation. Citizens wishing to address the board on agenda and non-agenda items for action who are signed in by 7:12 p.m. by submitting a blue card to the secretary may speak at this time. The board may not be in a position to respond to non-agenda items. Therefore, speakers should not anticipate an immediate response to their comments or questions. For the benefit of all concerned, please do not mention the names of students or school district employees. Please keep your comments as brief as possible. The board president reserves the right to limit times. We have a blue card this evening from Mr. Paul Sophia of Dearborn. He's representing teachers and students. He wishes to speak to the board about the non-agenda item of grants that are available.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm Paul Sophia, and if you hear some feedback, I think I saw Jimi Hendrix up there, so it's nothing, it's a ghost. But I did want to bring this to the attention of the board. I don't know how the school works or the best way to get information out to the teachers or the principals, but Wayne State University has some grant money available, and I have the information here. It's for a study abroad program for high school educators, and it is commemorating the 70th anniversary of the ending of the American Asian Pacific War. If awarded, the teacher selected, they'll have grant money, and it'll be cost-free to them, and it's going to be taking place next year in 2016, but the applications do have to be in by the end of this month. So I figured to get something done, I'll go right to the top, and then you guys can distribute it however you see fit. So I made copies, and again, thank you for your time. And by the way, I got my first call today as a substitute teacher, and unfortunately it wasn't something I was qualified for, but my phone will be next to my pillow tomorrow too. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Approval of minutes of the following Dearborn Board of Education meeting. Regular P12 meeting, August 24th, 2015. Board report 1523. Make any necessary corrections and move approval of these minutes.
So moved.
Support.
Are there any corrections? Any discussion? Okay, I'd like to attach a unanimous affirmative. Next item, please.
Recognition and acknowledgements, new staff introductions.
Okay, I want to say one thing real quick. When the new staff comes up and introduces themselves, we do want to have a group. Oh boy,
We need that bowling policy.
We need to have a group photo of you after you've introduced yourself. So please go out the door over there and stand in the lobby. And when the whole entire group is done, they wanted to have a group photo. So, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll ask Mason Ali Bazzi and Rob Cederlin to come up, the Executive Director and Director.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce Rob Cederlin, our Director of Human Resources. And I'd like to just take a second to thank our principals, our administrators, and all the staff that participated on the interview committees throughout the summer to be able to hire so many wonderful new staff members. Mr. Cederlin?
I just want to invite our new teachers to come up through the center here if you could, and that we ask you to come up and speak into the microphone. Just let them know your name, either the grade level you teach or the subject you teach. Please come up. First come, first serve. And then as you exit, as President McDonald said, we'd like to get a photo of the new teachers out in the lobbyway.
Can we really quickly know how many in total? Because I know a lot of times everybody can't make it here. How many in total did we hire for the start of the school year?
I think we're around 65, and there's still a few vacancies to fill.
Okay, thank you.
It's also not just teachers, it's all staff, isn't it? Because I think
These are just the instructional staff.
Oh,
just the
okay,
teachers.
I thought that-
Teachers, there could be a nurse or social worker. It's all members of
Okay.
the FT.
Hi, I'm Katie Lynn Peterson. I'm the new first grade teacher at Oakman, and I'm a graduate of Dearborn Public Schools.
Welcome.
Caitlin, I'm going to hand each of them a little note from our superintendent welcoming them to the district with a lapel pin, which they can proudly wear. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Erin McInville. I'm the new 8th grade language arts and math teacher at Woodworth and a proud graduate of Etzel Ford.
My kids can take it.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Tyler. I'm the new primary EI teacher at Whitmore Bowles.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Malone. I'm the math interventionist at Whitmore Bowles.
Thanks. Jennifer, congratulations.
Hello, my name is Lori Deer. I am the new Title I teacher at Smith Middle School, and I'm also a graduate from Dearborn High. Go Pioneers. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Mohammed Sabra. I am also a tractor graduate. I also did my student teaching at Fortson, and now I am teaching at Fortson. Very proud to be here.
Even wearing the colors.
Cool.
Congratulations.
I did notice that.
Good evening. My name is Sophia Abdullah. I am the new 4th grade teacher at Salina Intermediate, and happy to be here.
Good evening. I am Laura Mallard. I'm the new 8th grade teacher for science at Woodworth, and I didn't go to Dexter, but I'm now a local member of the community.
Welcome.
Congrats again, Laura.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Walsh. I am the new 8th grade language arts teacher at Woodworth Middle School, and I'm not a graduate from anywhere in Dearborn, but I've lived in the Dearborn Heights area all my life. I'm very proud to have lived there, so thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rafif Said, and I'm the new Arabic teacher at Fortson High. I don't have any background of being at Dearborn schools, but all my 3 kids go to Dearborn schools, and they're still going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Dillon, and I'm the new first grade teacher at Laurie School. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Serini, and I'm a new second grade teacher at Henry Ford Elementary School.
Hi, my name is Rachel Bazzi, and I'm the new first grade teacher over at Henry Ford.
Hi, I'm Emily Brady. I am the new 4th grade teacher at Henry Ford, and I am a Dearborn graduate. Thank you.
My name is Iba Al-Kuqa. I'm the new first grade teacher at McCullough Eunice, and I am a Fordson graduate.
Good evening. I'm Deborah Junkin. I'm the new interventionist at Howe School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to add one interesting story that I heard in the lobby when I was meeting with our new staff. One of the teachers, Erin, she introduced herself. She is working at Woodworth, and her grandparents met at Woodworth.
Oh.
And I thought that was a wonderful story. So she has a tremendous background there. So I had to share that because she didn't.
How wonderful it is that we have so many former students coming
Yes.
to teach our current students too. That's
Absolutely.
also, it's testament to the district.
And that people have moved into the district,
Yeah.
even if they weren't here. It's great, too.
That's what we like to see.
Yes.
Next item.
Commendations.
Okay, I do have one that I'd like to mention, and really it's to the entire Dearborn community. We had the start of school last week. It was successful, so I'd like to thank the Board of Education, administrators, teachers, support staff, parents, community members, really doing a great job, and it was an exciting week for me, my first year here as superintendent, so I want to thank everybody and commend you for a great job last week.
Did it look different for you from start of school as a principal?
Yes, yes, a little different. Yeah, it was working all summer, preparing, so that was part of it. Although as a principal, there's a lot of work too, but yes, it did. It was still exciting to get in the buildings. I know
Good.
some of you went to the buildings, and it was really exciting to go and visit with the students on the first day. Some were excited, you could see, but then others, it was early morning because they weren't used to that routine, so that you could see that they were not used to the routine yet for the morning, especially in the high school, but yeah, it was a great visit.
They won't get used to that ever.
Next item.
Acknowledgement of donation.
So we do have one. There's a donation of floor cleaning equipment, including a scrubber, waxer, industrial bucket, and ringers, and assorted scrub pads valued at about $520. It's been offered to Etzel Ford High School by Mr. Jack Shankman to be used by the custodial staff for summer cleaning. So she's leaving Mr. Shankman's leaving some support equipment as he goes. It'd be hard to take that, huh? It'd be hard to take that on a plane, I think.
Any other
No other. Thank you.
special reports?
Oh, they're going to be special right now. Okay, so
Special
Yes,
reports?
next item, special
Review of opening days of school, Dr. Glenn Maleko, Dr. Jill Chokel, Ms. Shannon Peterson, Dr. Gail Schenkman.
So we actually have a treat here, and to celebrate the opening days of school. I kind of already mentioned of the week and commending people. So we're going to have Miss Lisa Myers come up, and talk about the band here that we brought, and we're going to celebrate with the Etzel Ford Band. So, Miss Myers.
Good evening. The start of school. Crisp mornings, the sound of students talking in the hall, the opening and closing of lockers, all sounds that we hear when school begins. However, the sounds that fill the air a few weeks before school starts, it is the sound of marching band students learning field routines, practicing music, and learning how to work together to create some fantastic and captivating halftime shows. Tonight, you will get to enjoy the music, backdrops, and flag show of the Etzel Ford High School Marching Band under the direction of Alex Armstead. Mr. Armstead is in his 4th year of teaching and his 2nd year in Dearborn at Etzel Ford High School. Tonight, he is showing his musicality by stepping in to play the tuba, since the tuba player was not able to make it tonight. The theme for tonight's music is Africa. The backdrops that you see over here were painted by the students and are wheeled onto the football field to give you a feel of being in the Serengeti. The pieces that you will be hearing are Invocation in African Dance, African Adventure, and Celebration Tribalesque. Sit back and enjoy your halftime show brought to you by the Etzel Ford High School Marching Band.
Outstanding job, Thunderbirds. Well done. I kind of feel like I just took a trip to Africa. Next item, please.
Feeder track leadership, Dr. Glenn Maleko, Dr. Jill Chokol, Ms. Shannon Peterson.
So I'm going to go over to the other side by the podium. Before I do want to let the board and the audience know we are having some sound technical difficulties on the television channel right now. Everything, though, is recorded, so it will be under replay, and I know they're working on the issue right now. So I know they can't hear that, but they did put a message, I believe, over the television, so everybody is aware that we had some technical issues. Okay. I'll ask... Okay, so we did want to present this as a team. You know, the model, it's in the 90-day plan for the superintendent. It's going to be part of the goals that I'm going to be sharing with you that are going to be superintendent goals and then district goals. All of administration have put our goals together, and so I want to also stress that the three of us are up here because it's a team effort. It really is. It's you, the Board of Education, administration, the teachers, and so we're going to move on the new feeder track model. When I was going through the interview process, and I know I've spoken to the board, you know, one of the things we really wanted to do was increase articulation or cooperation between the different levels, meaning elementary, middle, and high school, so that students do have a great cohesive educational experience so that they are ready for life beyond high school. And so in order to do that, we want to develop this, and we are in the process of implementing a new feeder track model. I wanted to put a couple of quotes on here because I know there's a lot of negativity at times towards education and teaching in the current political climate. And we have a great author here, Rick Dufour, who put out a book, and he really is saying that if we really look at the data, no generation of American educators have ever accomplished what our teachers and administrators are achieving today. And just you know, a little kudos to our staff and to the board and to the educational process. We have the greatest generation of educators that we've ever seen right now, and he has specific data within this book that backs that with NAEP scores, graduation rates, all the things. He also says we have a lot of room for improvement. So he's not saying that the job is done, but I just wanted to start on that note to let you know that we do value our faculty when we're moving on these plans within the school district. Again, you've heard it from me multiple times. I know our team, student interest being the #1 priority. Any decisions that are made, I've been saying it to all the addresses before all the faculty, we will make student interest and the needs of students as the #1 priority. And that's why we're doing this, really, to be honest, is why we want as adults, because we're all here to serve students. And so within that, if we want to be effective, it really has to be a non-negotiable that we work well together as a team. Team as the Board of Education, as administrators, as teachers, as the entire school community, our support staff, we value all our members. And so to me it's really critical, and I put a couple of quotes up there. So what is the feeder track model? Well, first we have to have goals. You know, what is it that we want to do? Have some goals. We want to meet the needs of each and every child, as stated. We want to increase student achievement. Increase student growth data. The student achievement, you know, what are the measurements now? We're working on that. We have the NWA, some growth measures and some other things, so that's important. Our graduation rates are good, but there's still room for improvement. And then we want to continue to provide options for students. Again, starting at the earlier levels so that we can get students ready for when they're going beyond high school. You know, it really talks about, and I rely heavily on some, you know, I like to read research and books and then come and practically apply it. And if we really want to make effective change, you know, you have to really change school culture. What is this? It is a school cultural change. When we look at our administration and how we're going to change the structure of supervision within the schools. And really, I wouldn't even tell you that it's a school level issue. This is more of a central office issue and how we're structured. Sometimes, you know, we've done things because we've continued to do it. Why are we structured that way? So sometimes we have to look at it and challenge ourselves to say, can we do things better, or is there a better way? Again, schools specific action, another quote here, Anthony Muhammad, he's from Michigan initially, and a lot of the educational leadership would know him. Okay, measurements. We have NWEA, we mentioned SAT, graduation rates, student success rate beyond high school we want to measure. State accountability assessments. As you know, we're in flux right now with the M-STEP, but these are some of the measurements that we're looking at, and we're going to gather more. I do believe that the school improvement process data gathered, when we go to a school and we measure and we go to every class as a team of teachers and administrators and actually see the inputs, that is the instruction going on, that's a great measurement as well. And so our school improvement process, we do look at data. So what are we doing? So that the parents understand, what is this feeder track system? I know we've talked to the board, well, what does this mean? Really what it means is changing the supervision. So we used to have a executive director or associate superintendent that supervised elementary and one that did secondary. So now we're changing it so that we have 3 executive directors of student achievement. We have Dr. Chokol, Ms. Peterson, and then we have a vacancy right now as Dr. Shankman's leaving, and each one of them is going to oversee a high school feeder track. So what does that mean? That means Dr. Chokol, the Fortson feeder track, the middle schools that feed into the Fortson, and then also the elementary schools. Ms. Peterson would be Dearborn High, the same concept. And they are going to work very closely together because we also don't want 3 districts working within one, so they're going to be working in close collaborative partnership when they set agendas. And we're very excited about it. It's already been a great teamwork behind the scenes. So here are a few other things, and I'll let Shannon come in.
So the first thing we want to do is the school improvement process. Some principals had already started this. They would attend the school improvement visits of their feeders schools, or like when I was principal of Bryant, I would go to Dearborn High and then I would go to the elementary feeders. So that is something we're asking the principals to do now in the feeder tracks, is to go to some of the schools that either feed into their school or that they feed into. And we're also hoping to get some teacher presence on those school improvement visits, but subs are a challenge. We also don't want to take teachers out of the classroom. We're going to work on improving norms and goals at each building so that they're aligned in the feeder track, so everyone in the Dearborn High feeder track is working with the same strategies, and so that the students see consistency as they move in. And then Cabinet is going to be attending meetings, and we were out and about today. I was at Henry Ford Early College, I was at River Oaks, and I was at Michael Berry. I know Dr. Chokol was out and about, and
yes, Whitmore, I was there.
So Cabinet's going out into the staff meetings, and I have to say that I learned a lot today going out into the staff meetings. There are 2 meetings a month, which we had already. We've just kind of changed them. So there's our feeder track meeting, and then there's a level meeting. So if elementary forum, middle school forum, high school forum for the principals. The meetings are going to be in the buildings. Most of us had already done walkthroughs last year, so when we go into a middle school principals meeting, the first 45 minutes will be 30 minutes visiting in walkthroughs in classrooms and then 15 minutes debriefing. And the principal will set what we're looking for. What strategies are they hoping we see, and look for feedback on that. And so we're really hoping that this collaboration helps improve not only instruction in the classroom, but also capacity in our building leaders.
So the other departments within central office are also realigning to support the feeder track schools. So this means different things to different supervisors and coordinators within those departments, but the goal is to support the needs of each and every child, and certainly the needs of the staff as we work through this feeder model. The component that we have also been working on is to make all of our face-to-face engagements highly interactive, so that it's not a stand and lecture type of format, that when we're working on data, we're talking about the data in groups. We're engaging not only in conversation, but we're providing solutions and problem solving together. So the format and structure of our meetings is shifting so that it's highly interactive, and things that can be read are simply listed as announcements on the different agendas. This requires a very high degree of communication. And so I probably have talked to, Shannon and Gail Moore and Glenn Moore in the past, 60 days about the structure of meetings, what we're covering at the different agenda, what our goals are in order to interface and ensure that the start of the school year was smooth. So our focus remains on teaching and learning and looking at the kind of feedback that we're providing our administrators as well as teachers as we walk through. So the use of data, and then as Shannon mentioned, the monthly forums that will continue to be part of our group. So we'll have an elementary forum, a middle school, a high school, as well as a feeder track meeting, so that the administrators in the school have that need to stay connected to their elementary colleagues. Certainly we also want to look then vertically in that feeder so that the elementaries, the middle, and the high school are connected, but we also want to maintain that horizontal alignment as well.
Really, this is just, we can choose to make a difference if we want. I told the staff, that I'm an optimist. I always see that glass half full. You'll never change my mind on that. Where I see problems or issues, I also see opportunity. And so to me, this is just an opportunity to make a difference for our students. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead, Trustee Lane.
I'd just like to comment that I like the quote. And I do believe sincerely that we really do have the greatest generation of teachers, educators. There were lots of great people before, but in the past, if a student dropped out along the way, they dropped out, they could find another job. But these days, our society requires that everyone be well educated. And more and more, we understand that every child has a right to be a whole child, to be well adjusted. And I like to quote, because our schools undertake a lot of things that maybe before were done by families or the village, and the school does a lot of that now. So it is a huge charge, but it's the most important charge that we have. And that being said, I do want to comment that on feeder track measurements, I'm really glad to see the third one. You have student success beyond high school. And just as a student's life outside of school is brought into the classroom and they're learning, they can't learn if they're hungry, which is why we serve breakfast, we have lunch. Same thing, your life continues on outside of school and then past school. So I like that as a measurement. I know that we're pretty much off the hook once someone graduates, but I do think as a society it's important to make sure that people can redeem themselves later or can continue to go on and flourish. So that means probably integrating feedback from the college, and we have, of course, our college, our local college, but I hope that, that will be incorporated also. Our English language should feed into what is the standard for an educated person. And maybe the universities are on the same page for what is, what you go into college and should be able to do in calculus or in English or whatever, but I'm glad to see that one, so thank you. Long-winded way of getting
well, and
it.
With Dr. Jensen too, we've been meeting, and I really appreciate the positive collaboration in this, I think 70-plus days I've been in the position, and it's been great, and I appreciate his support, and yes, absolutely, we'll continue with that dialogue. Thank you, Trustee Lane.
One of the things that I noticed we have the feeder tracks for the 3 principal high schools and the schools there, but we have a lot of outlier programs as well with early colleges, the dual enrollment programs, and all of those types of other programs that we make available to our students. How are we fitting them into this mix, or are we?
Each of them, go ahead.
Well, the college programs, Henry Ford Early College, those students don't attend our high schools, but the Collegiate Academy and the dual enrollment do. So that will be discussed in the feeders, how our students are doing, and also with the counselors. We have actually discussed how we make sure that our parents are aware of all of the secondary options, including that. So the talk has started. We don't have a concrete answer yet,
right.
But also ACE and STEM are in the Etzel feeder track. So they're in a track, even though they take kids from all of the schools.
So on the organizational chart, which I think I've shared, it has different responsibilities along with the feeder track for the executive directors, and we've tried to balance some of those. So like special supervision of the overall special ed program, or we have coordinators in the high school as well, so it makes sense for the person within the feeder track to supervise them with the principal, but one person needs to take charge of the staff development. So it's consistent across the school. So we've already kind of been accounting for some of those variables.
Okay, thank you.
The model, go ahead, Trustee Bassey.
I had a question, kind of going off what Trustee Lane was talking about, the student success beyond high school. Do you have a plan on measuring that, I guess, or getting that information?
There are some surveys I know that we've talked about getting involved with where there is some measurement. I know that even Rad Alawan has proposed some things that we can get involved with to find out success. So we're looking at those. I don't know that we decided on a specific measure, but there are tools out there where you can get that information. And some of it might just be, like you said, working in the college, if you're targeting those students, working with the different universities and trying to get input from those students.
Are you going to start trying from the students that graduate, the seniors now, and where they're going and how they succeed, or are you going to look back a year or two?
Well, in the reality with this model is it is a long-term change. Yeah. So we're hoping for obviously the short-term gains and long-term growth. I think the effective measure is really going to be in the long term, but we also have to measure the short-term, the graduation rate. So we may not be able to directly attribute those first couple of years to the feeder track in reality. But so it's going to be, it's just like they've looked at different studies I've seen, on the impact of early childhood. And well, how do you know until, well, it's really a longitudinal study that you have to take on. And so, effective change takes, about 5 years. So 3 to 5 years. So we want short-term growth and gains, but some of those areas I think we're going to have to measure on a long-term basis.
But at least right now, for the seniors who will exit in June, next June, we could know, and maybe we should think about it, their AP classes that they're credited with at any other university. And really, we should probably think about that anyways, because it's a savings to their parents and to society for classes that they've achieved at and don't need to take at university or college. So, I guess we have to start thinking about how we're doing things differently and showing the worth that we present.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments.
Just want to see if I got the concept.
Okay.
Has there been a problem in the past that there hasn't been continuity from elementary to middle school to high school in terms of like knowledge, instruction? Is this an attempt to try to make that smooth?
Correct.
So that students what they learn in elementary school is correct background and knowledge and skills to move into middle school, and then when they're in middle school, they're learning stuff that allows them to be successful in high school? Is that what we're talking about?
I think it's a little more than that. I think it's working to get everybody in the district to realize we're all responsible for the graduate.
Okay.
So even the first grade teacher has a piece to the puzzle for the graduate.
Okay.
Along with, we've had feeder track initiatives on their own. We're kind of formalizing it now so that it's very systematic.
So it creates a lot more communication across the, and that's why you divided it up this way, so that, okay, so you're responsible for a certain area, and you're responsible for, yeah. So that's a lot of work.
I think the other, the data shows that when elementary students go into middle school, the achievement dips in many cases. And we know that that is a huge adjustment for young people socially, emotionally. There's a lot going on. And so with this vertical alignment, the goal is to minimize those bumps and ensure that there is not that loss, but certainly an increase in achievement. And the same would go for that bridge from 8th grade to 9th grade. Those are kind of milestones that we've all experienced, but we know that our young people need a lot of support, and certainly as adults, we want to provide that continuity and communication to ensure that that upward path continues.
If I could jump on that, I mean, part of that is we have a bad habit as a society of changing things all the time and not having the endurance for the long haul. I refer to the state changing the tests. And I know there's a lot of political controversy about the Common Core, but I know that, you know, you can teach something I mean, we can teach whatever. Do they need to know about the Boston Tea Party? Do they need to know about the Japanese internment? And the kids can learn it. But what does the state test us on? I mean, part of it is showing broad-based learning, but for specific facts. I mean, we should agree and we should stop constantly changing it. So I hope that, you know, it's just my plug for one of my pet peeves with the state of Michigan, so.
Well, I just have to say the model makes a lot of sense to me, and I think it will be helpful to our students. I have one personal question. I myself, and I'm sure other board members, get calls from parents and other citizens, usually parents, and they have a particular issue. And generally, you know, we tell them, well, have you talked to your teacher? Have you gone up the chain of command? The next thing to do is the principal. If they have done all of those things, then we generally tell them, and it's easy if we can say, you know, this or that. So can the board member get like a specific list or something to help us? Is it in here already?
There's actually one,
like a refrigerator list is what I'm looking, because I get calls all the time.
Peterson already had that developed right away when we, because we needed the emails logged into it as well, so they should have a email listing for the administrators. But there is a list on the, and I forgot to mention, I apologize, that it, you know, there's schools that are listed on your sheet, and then the names of the administrators they supervise.
Okay, it was separate from the PowerPoint. I've got it now.
Yeah.
Wonderful. This will go on my refrigerator. I have gotten 2 calls already this weekend.
Okay.
Well, but also, if there's a secondary question right now, I'm probably still going to field it.
Okay.
If there's an elementary question, I'm going to defer to the expert.
Okay.
As we are both learning the others.
Okay.
So it's really going to kind of depend on what the question is. If it's an accelerated math question in the secondary, then I'm probably going to field it.
Okay.
If it's a kindergarten question, she might field it even though it's on a feeder.
I don't want to bounce people around too much, but for the time being, should we still direct them in that direction then primarily, or?
Yes, and if you have a question, I know that we all are with our emails quite quick, so if you say, who should I send it to, just to be sure, I'm happy to pass the buck.
And they were, you know, as a team.
Right, absolutely.
It's all going to be, you know, about a team, and they're even going to share a blog.
Oh, good. I just don't want to keep shuffling somebody down to different folks, because then it looks like we're...
Well, when they call here, our office is going to send them in the right direction.
Okay.
Wonderful. And it'll take some getting used to, you know, with communicating, you know, once it gets established. So.
Okay. Any other questions? Thoughts? Nicely done. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
MASB Summer Conference Report, Roxanne McDonald, Trustee Michael Mead.
You want me to go first?
I can go first if you don't mind.
Sure, go right ahead.
The Michigan Association of School Boards offers a variety of excellent training opportunities for school board members. Dearborn has encouraged its board to take advantage of this training. So recently, Trustee Mead and I went to take advantage of some training at in Boyne, and it was called Summer School for Summer Leaders. And this was an excellent 2-day, very intense training session. I attended 6 3-hour classes over the 2 days. I'm going to tell you some about the classes that I took. I took a public speaking skills. It's an important skill that as board members we need and we often use. And most of you know it is people's #1 fear, public speaking. For a lucky few, public speaking comes naturally. I am not one of those. So I took this class. I always am prepared. I always practice. But occasionally my nerves take over, so I thought maybe I'd get some helpful hints, and we'll just see if that worked. I also took a media relations class, and some of the topics discussed were why the media focuses on the negative. And it sells, it's easier to write, it's easier to understand, and it's easier to remember. And the media also plays an important role as a watchdog for the public good. But on the local level, we have excellent, wonderful stories to share. Great things happen in our district every day, and I think it's vital that we get those stories out as well. And of course, School Life does an excellent job of sharing our good news to our community. And in Dearborn, we are also fortunate enough to have Dave and his team, which do an excellent job at communications and all of our communication needs. And in the class that I took, I just have to say that we are very fortunate to have these things, because we were the only district that had a communications department or director, and none of them also had School Life that were in the class that I took. So lots of great things in Dearborn, lots for us to celebrate. And we also discussed the do's and don'ts of media relations, as well as social media and the power of the blog, which Dr. Maleko is keenly aware. Board leadership and a case study approach was another class that I took, and this examined 2 cases where boards were faced with very difficult decisions. Now, this was not, the goal of this class was not to analyze the decisions that were made, nor was it to have a general discussion. We were never even told what the final outcome and what the decisions were made. But it was to learn how to work together as a team, first by reaching a consensus on what your options are or the direction that the board will take, by learning to use the expertise and the experience of each other, and also to anticipate and manage issues as they arise in your district. I took a very exciting class called Anatomy of a School Budget. And this course covered a variety of topics related to the beast that is a school budget. And those topics included types of funds, major components of a budget, typical breakdown of a school district's budget, planning and budgeting on both the private and public sector, major variables that districts face, typical financial data reports, strengths and weaknesses of a district's budget, ideal financial practices, and why Michigan schools have structural deficit budget pressures. So, and I know we know a lot of why that is. I also took a very interesting course. I enjoyed this one very much. It was on school safety and security, and this is a new offering by the MASB. Of course, school safety and security is always a top priority, not just for the district, but for parents and the entire community. And that's evident in the support that our recent bond initiative showed, that our community showed that initiative. Because it also included some significant additions to security in all of our buildings. The course discussed readiness and emergency management for schools, which is known as REMS, with an emphasis on prevention and mitigation, which is actions taken to reduce exposures and to risk and the impact of a disaster, planning and preparedness, and that would be conducting a needs risk assessment, what your response should be, and recovery, and that's assisting students, staff, families, and the communities in the healing process, but also restoring educational operations. We discussed crime prevention through environmental design, which included natural surveillance, and that is the physical ability to see what's going on around your buildings. Also access control, and that's knowing who's coming and going. Other topics discussed in this class were cost, insurance, and being proactive when it comes to bullying, which I know we are way ahead of the game there. We've done national conferences on that. So my conclusion or my thoughts are our district and the Dearborn Police Department have established such an excellent working relationship, and we have emergency readiness plans in place for a multitude of possible scenarios. And I know Dr. Maleko and Chief Haddad have a very good relationship. And they are aware of and have things in place that we're not even aware of, but they've got a lot of things covered. So I'm very confident in the safety and the security of our buildings and our students. This spring, I also attended 2 full-day board president workshops offered by MASB. Although these were excellent workshops with a tremendous amount of useful information to help me in my role leading this board, nothing compares to the experience. And the MASB is also offering their annual leadership conference next month, and I encourage board members' participation if you're able. It's excellent training and it's always worthwhile. Thank you.
I'll move that way up there so maybe I don't get the feedback. So I went to 5 different sessions, and the first session was on basic school law, and it was presented by Keiichi Kiefken, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and Brad Benazik. They're both Esquires at the MASB. And they started off by saying, how do we get our authority as board members? And he said it comes from the people, and the people and the state constitution, and the people elect us as board members to represent them. So they say that the major responsibilities for people on the board are to create a vision, a mission, and a strategic plan for the education of children in the district, and to hire and evaluate the superintendent of the district. They kept saying this over and over again. Now, some of their suggestions were that we should err on the side of disclosure when involved with the Freedom of Information Act requests. We should err on the side of openness when implementing the Open Meetings Act. We should recognize the Public Employment Relations Acts, in which the board has the duty to bargain in good faith. State law requires a balanced budget. State law requires that we have 5% of our fund balance of our income in a fund balance. When we are dealing with FERPA, protect students' private information, and parents have access to the information. Others may request information, and board needs to have policies for release of this information. Try to emphasize this over and over again. One member of the board has no power and is a nobody. Only the majority of the board has authority. Boards must observe the due process in the hiring and dismissal of employees and students. And we have government immunity except in negligence. They use the example of the flagpole that was resting at the bottom, and when it fell over and landed on a student, the board was then liable. Second, now there's a lot more that they said in this legal session, but I'm trying to pick out some of the stuff that I think is relevant. So the second one was the superintendent performance. This is goals, indicators, and evidence as presented by Scott Morrell. It says the evaluation of a superintendent begins with the district vision, mission, and strategic plan. This strategic plan allows for the creation of SMART goals. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So when you were presenting today about the goals that you're going to do, it sounded like people were responsible for it. It's time-based, and there are measurements. Okay. It was also suggested that every 90 days a superintendent report to the progress of the goals to the board and to the community. And one person suggested that we at least submit 2 reports a year, mid-year and at the end of the year, of how we're doing with the goals, and to have this in the newspaper. And there should be 3 or 4 pieces of evidence to prove each goal that it actually is accomplished. Now, they emphasize too that if goals are not met, that is not a bad thing. It helps us to understand that maybe some goals are inappropriate. And if goals aren't met, sometimes it means that we didn't do it well. The next one I attended was by Dr. Tim Detweiler, very philosophical man. He talked about the 21st century skills to succeed in a global society. He starts off again, the district's vision, mission, and strategic plan must include language that relates to the goals of student achievement for the 21st century skills. He started off by saying he thought this was a good mission statement, so I thought I would share that with you. This is the Northville Public Schools. Northville Public Schools and its community inspire and develop literate, creative problem solvers ready for continued learning and career success while becoming respectful, productive members of society. So he's saying that the key learning for students in the 21st century, therefore, are the 3 R's: logic, problem solving, decision making, development of emotional intelligence, career planning and implementation, and research skills, and how to find the most accurate data when they're doing research. These learnings outcomes require rethinking of teaching models, classroom configurations, more emphasis on projects whose solutions require thought, logic, decision-making, and problem-solving. That is, pedagogy is interdisciplinary, collaborative, project-based, research-based, using sound technology. So then the same gentleman, kind of following him around, Dr. Tim Detweiler, he talked on focus on student achievement. So he started off by saying that student achievement involves many groups. For example, the Board of Education, superintendent, the community, law, federal and state law, families, students, and teachers. The board sets the expectations for student achievement in the vision, mission, and strategic plan. Here are some questions that he suggested that the board should ask to support student achievement. How well does the board understand the aims of the district in terms of student achievement? Does the Board of Education use data in decision making? Is student achievement better than it used to be? Is it better than it used to be? Does the superintendent know how to measure the progress of student achievement? What are the challenges that limit student achievement in our district? What are the challenges that limit our student achievement in our district? Would an educational quality dashboard be useful for us? So components of successful student achievement from his perspective are collaborative leadership between the board and the superintendent is the key component for higher student achievement. The belief that all students can achieve. What happens between teachers and students has the greatest impact on how well those students learn. When it comes to helping students to be graduate ready for college or the university and a career, nothing at school matters more than the quality of our teachers. A systems approach to assessment of student achievement and the proper selection of assessments for student achievement are critical. So it concludes, the purpose of the board, therefore, is assuring that students receive a good education by advancing student achievement and building a context in which students study, prepare for the future and dream, and find success in life's next steps. For my own conclusion, the MASB is encouraging all Michigan school district boards to develop strategic plans that educate our students for the 21st century. We are now 15 years into the 21st century, and we are making great strides. So that's what I got from that conference, and I do encourage people to participate in these conferences. I needed them more than anybody because I've never been on a board before.
One quick thing I'd like to add, especially for our new members, they have a 100 track, which is a total of 9 classes, and I believe some of them can be, or most of them can be taken online as well. And that certifies you as a school board member by the state of Michigan. It's really useful information. They cover budgets, they cover finances, several things. So you might want to consider taking those. It takes some time. That was one of my goals when I got onto the board, was to certify myself, and it took me a little less than 2 years. But it's definitely something that's a good thing to do, and it's good information. Next item, please.
Action items. Are there any agenda items on this agenda which board members or the superintendent wish to vote on separately? If there are, we will exclude these from the motion below. We do have number 11, which requires a roll call. I have a question about number 8.
And we need, number 10 needs some names added. Anyone else? Is that it?
How do you want to proceed, Madam?
Yes,
Chair, President.
Go ahead with the exclusion, or we can pull those 3 items for a discussion real quick.
Okay. Okay. All right, move that action items 1 through 14, with some supplements at our table tonight on the human relations front, be approved as recommended in this agenda with the exception of 8, 10, and 11.
That's fine.
Second, motion.
Thank you.
Support.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, the summary of agenda action items. Number 1, approval of warrants. Number 2, approval of change orders. Numbers 3 through 6, approval of non-instructional and instructional personnel items for P12. Number 7, approval of financial statement. Number 9, approval of representative to parent advisory committee for Wayne Risa. Number 12, approval of donation. Number 13, approval of Read 180 for Smith Middle School. Number 14, approval of appointment of Thomas Wall as director of MAISL.
Okay, if we can add affirmative unanimous on those items, and go ahead. What was number 8? We'll start with that one.
Number 8 is approval of memo of understanding between Genesee Intermediate School District and the ISD RISA Dearborn Public Schools Board Report 1531. So move that the memo of understanding be approved.
Okay. Were there any questions on that?
I support. Or no, wait, I move.
Oh, I'm
because you
sorry.
didn't
Okay,
move.
all right.
We need support.
Yes.
I support.
Okay.
So my question was, Dr. Maleko, the memo of understanding requires a 1-to-1 teacher-student appointment. And I understand that we don't have currently any students who are taking advantage of this waiver, but my concern is, number one, that if it was really heavily utilized, how many teachers would we have to have appointed to implement this, or at least to satisfy the bureaucratic requirements? And then also in the memorandum, it says that the district will provide, quotations, all necessary student support. So I don't know what that means. I mean, if you say all necessary student support, I mean, would that be a private tutor? Or, I mean, what conceivably could that mean?
So
I'm a little bit concerned that, I mean, it's one thing to say we're going to do this and we want students to be successful, but all necessary support? I mean, there's no, in other words, there's no qualifier, so.
The reason that we're asking you to approve this is just in case. So we don't have any students that are availing themselves of this program. We did it one time when it was first initiated, and we found that they weren't terribly successful. Having this in our back pocket allows us, if we have a student that's expelled, to have another option for them. We really don't intend to use this option unless we had no other options. And the support services would be perhaps if we had a student who had an IEP and they needed that kind of support. But it's just in our back pocket.
Okay, I think it's a great tool, and I think that's the purpose of it. I just want to be sure to record my concern. I mean, you know, I mean, it could conceivably get to be very expensive if we had to have someone, and we do. I mean, obviously, as a society, it's in our interest to make sure that everybody gets through as much as possible. We've struggled as a group with what we do for students who we don't think can safely be in school. And this looks like it's a good alternative for them. I just want to express on the record my concerns that it could get to be very expensive, and you know, that's always a drain then it would be on our budget. So,
Trustee Bazey?
I mean, Trustee.
Just what are we using as an alternative currently? Since I know that we had this in the past and it wasn't successful. Correct. So what are we using right now for those students who may need something, who are, say, expelled at the high school level?
We use Edgenuity, which we used to be called E2020, and then they changed the name of it. With teacher support, we find that students are more successful with that. And then we have somebody coming out to the house a couple times a week and working with the students. It's a different option that we found our students are more successful with. When we individualize and it's our folks, we find them more successful. With GenNet, it was somebody else was the teacher, and it was more aligned to what we do with Michigan Virtual, but we tend to have students who are higher achievers be very successful with Michigan Virtual for advanced placement classes, where the students who would be most likely to be in this program would be students who aren't terribly motivated, and we found that we didn't have students being very successful. They were taking all of their classes with GenNet, and they had a tendency not to do the work. And actually, I acted as the mentor for the students over the summer because we didn't have someone doing that. And I would think that I called them very, very frequently and their parents very, very frequently, and found that we still couldn't motivate students who hadn't been motivated before. We had a few that completed some classes, but frankly, we had no one that completed all 6 classes in one semester. So we found it to be not very successful. But again, it's another thing we can have in our back pocket just in case we have a situation that
nothing else.
That there isn't a tutor that can go out to the house for some reason or something doesn't jive.
Gives us that option, and I had, in order to do it, signing an agreement with our county, Wayne County Research, to make this happen.
Yes, Trustee Bazey.
I like the fact of having all the different options within the district. I think that's one of the great things about it. And I guess to address maybe Trustee Lane's concern, if we get to a point where it looks like it's going to be taking more resources than we can afford or commit to it, we can limit the number of students we place in the program to address that, or maybe only put the students who would most benefit from that. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Would that be correct?
Absolutely. We've signed the agreement for numerous years since the one year we did have students in it, which was quite a while ago, and we haven't ever placed anybody in the program.
Okay.
And it's to our discretion.
Exactly.
I don't worry about us as a board. It's more my worry that the state could say, you didn't do every possible thing for the student. And it's fantastic that an associate assistant superintendent is calling students, but that's pretty expensive, an intervention. So I just want to express those concerns. So,
well, my time wasn't by the hour, so they actually frankly. As some of you already know, I have a tendency to extend myself sometimes, but it really wasn't a fit, honestly. It didn't provide the kind of support that the students who were in that predicament needed, and we find that we have other methods that do that. But if we're ever in a situation, perhaps a situation where we don't have someone to go out to the home, where it's not a situation where we can do that, and it's just another tool that we can use. I doubt very seriously if we will choose to use this tool. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I have no opposition. I don't need a real roll call on it. Okay. Patch, unanimous affirmative. I just want to express those concerns.
Okay, absolutely. We can add that to our unanimous affirmative then. Number 10, we need some names on.
And I cannot, so.
I cannot
I'm sorry?
attend.
I'm unavailable, so.
Most likely, it is during my birthday weekend, but I am contemplating going to the MASB, the conference that I talked about next weekend, unless my family absolutely objects to it. So as long as I'm going, I will certainly be a delegate. Is anyone else interested in that conference?
I have a wedding that weekend.
That's
Okay.
October 22nd.
That's October 22nd through the 24th, I think, and my birthday falls smack in the middle.
Yeah, that's good.
So you'll be a delegate? Okay. And we have to have 4 names, but not everyone
But they don't
has
have
to
to
show
go,
up.
right.
So, yes.
I just have to check one thing
Okay.
on my schedule, but you can put me in as a delegate.
Okay. And if you're able to attend, wonderful. And you can also, I mean, we have had them before where this took place locally or relatively close, where you could go just for the delegates meeting. I've done that before and not attend the conference. This conference is in Traverse City, so that won't be an option this time. So.
I gotta have the soups
No longer is the soup.
So Trustee Mead, we can include myself and Trustee Hammoud, and we need one more just as for a name.
If
You're
it's just
not-
for a name.
Yes, you're
okay,
not committed.
You can place my name then.
You will just have the name as a delegate.
I just
And-
know I can't attend. My husband's going out of town, so I'm with the kids that weekend.
And the rest of the board, falls in as alternates anyway.
Okay.
So, but we need to have those I's.
You have to list the names.
Yeah, we have to have the T's crossed and the I's dotted, so. If we can also add that one too with the additions to.
So move that Board of Education selects the following 4 voting delegates, Trustee President McDonald, Trustee Mead, Trustee Hammoud, Trustee Bazey, and the 3 alternates, Trustee Petchlikov, who am I missing? Oh, Trustee Guido and myself, to represent our Board of Education at the MASB Delegate Assembly to be held Thursday, October 22nd at 7:30 p.m. in one of the halls in the Grand Traverse Resort in Traverse.
So moved.
Somewhere, someplace.
Support.
I wonder if this is 2:15.
I guess you wanted it for the halls.
Let's see, what's today?
Ready for 11.
11.
Okay.
Recommended action move that a special meeting be held Friday, September 28th, 2015 at 5:30 at the Administrative Service Center in the Superintendent's Conference Room. Purpose of the meeting, which is open to the public, is a board retreat.
We were thinking of calling that a study session and changing that to study session, and then looking at possible other dates, because I know Trustee Bazey's unavailable. And
Yes, I'm not available on the 28th.
And I thought that it was, September 28th is a Monday. We've got Friday.
Yeah, it is a Monday.
Yeah,
Friday
no,
is
we
wrong.
had talked about.
I mean, in
Wait,
the
you've got
notes.
Friday.
It says Friday.
Oh, okay.
It should be Monday.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because I got it on my calendar.
Yeah.
Home on a Monday.
So we're looking at perhaps changing the date, hopefully getting full participation of the board, because that is important. But sometimes it is hard to accommodate everyone. So did you want to mention what your discussion items
so the
were?
topics really 4 to 5 main, and I'll have an agenda I'll be submitting to you in the board briefs. We're looking at the administrative building. We have to make some decisions with the bond money. There's some timelines involved in that, and those decisions would have to be made by the end of October in my consultation with Mr. Burek about just staying within the bond timelines. We also would discuss, and there's different options that'll be presented to the board, and they've been in board briefs. We have the Howe building where we've had some walkthroughs, and there's some different options there about that property and the direction the board wants to go in. I'm going to be presenting my goals that are aligned with the district goals to the Board of Education, and I wanted to get your input. We heard Dr. Mead talk about the importance of evaluation with the superintendent, so that would be another important aspect. And some of the things you'll be seeing at the board meetings. I'm going to be presenting on the 90-day plan in the October meeting, but this would give you an opportunity to have some dialogue about the goals. And then the strategic plan, that's another area that we have to discuss. And I'm not saying discuss the specific areas within it, but just a process that we want to follow, because that expires at the end of June 2016. And so we need to look at developing, and I know we had training last Friday at the retreat with Dr. Wilmot, and he talked about it as well. So again, I'm not necessarily talking about getting the specifics with the plan, but just a process that we want to engage in. So those were the important areas that I wanted to put on the agenda for discussion at the study session.
Do you know approximately how long?
I would think that, I would think that we could get it done within 2 hours. I'd say an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how deep we want to go into the discussion. I would say 2 hours is probably a reasonable amount of time. And I don't think there's anything that the college, because I know you addressed issues at Dr. Jensen, I think he took care of the issues last Friday, right?
So are we picking a Monday?
Yeah, I think Mondays will work good.
Another football game,
well,
but that's okay.
Well, we'll try to make it quick. But I think Mondays are better than Fridays. This is for family time.
I guess the biggest thing is we've got to get this done sooner rather than later, because of the bond money has to be
There's a timeline.
So we have some time, but again, to be within our timeline, it's really that. That's the more pressing issue. The other issues I could move if needed, but really it's this building. We have to make decisions, affirm direction to our operations, so that, Mr. Wall and Mr. Burek, as to what we want to do, so we can get moving on that.
So if we wanted to move from the 28th, I think the next one is the 5th, is that correct?
October 5th.
And that is not, I'm sorry?
5th to the 26th are Mondays.
I don't think we can push it off that far to the 26th.
No,
so,
it's too late.
Yeah, the 5th is that.
I can do the 5th. If that works for everyone.
I had a discussion with Trustee Guido over the phone. He has sometimes, that's why he's not here tonight, he's involved in meetings on Monday nights. He does not anticipate one coming up, so the 5th should probably work for him. That could change, but
and he has some opinions through the Building and Site Committee too that we'd want his,
yes.
I mean, all of your input, but I know he had some recommendations.
His expertise. So he did say he was available on the 28th, but normally Mondays work for him, except if he gets called to one of these city meetings that he attends. So shall we plan on the 5th then? Because that seems to work for everyone. What time are we looking at?
Your convenience. What do you prefer?
I know that we did it at 5:30 on Friday, but 5:30 is just a difficult time when I'm getting off. Would 6:30 or 7 work?
Sure.
That's fine with me.
Does that work? Is that okay with everybody else?
Better for me actually that day.
7?
6:30?
6:30?
6:30 is fine for me.
6:30 is good.
Yeah, I like 6:30.
Okay.
6:30 then on the 5th. Okay.
And I did have in the board brief document, there was a memo from Mr. Burek that you'll want to look at prior to that, and I'll have the agenda in there so you can look at some of the options and maybe it'll give you a little bit of preparation. I may actually look to see if I can have him available if there's any questions as well during that meeting, and I don't know, Mr. Wall or one of them.
Okay.
Okay, so move that a special meeting be held on Monday, October 5th at 6:30 in the Administrative Service Center in the in the Administrative Service Center in the boardroom. Purpose of the meeting, which is open to the public, is a study session on the administrative building, the superintendent's goals, and the strategic plan.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Okay. I'll add
Bessie?
that one as well.
Oh, that's a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it needs a roll.
May I have a roll
Bessie.
call, please?
Yes.
Guido is absent. Hamud?
Yes.
Lane, yes. Mead?
Yes.
Petchlikov?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, and we'll add that. Next item, please.
Discussion item policy updates, board report 1533.
So we had the committee that met about the policy changes. I don't know if any of the committee members have any
I think
comments.
we met, well, we had received something in our email including some proposed revisions, and I think the point of the revisions is just to make it, once again, consistent with state law and to add primarily the cyberbullying, I don't have it with me, the language about cyberbullying into the language which wasn't there ahead of time, and through some discussion there were some additional changes we noticed. We wanted to make sure that we were inclusive of every potential scenario out there that could be considered bullying, so we changed some language to indicate including but not limited to, so we can identify certain types, certain instances that would be considered bullying, but also there are some things that people are creative. We can't envision.
That's what I was going to say. Once you get specific, then you eliminate other things that could potentially come in. If it's more generic, then it kind of leaves it open to interpretation, but it gives you that broader.
Yeah.
So as long as you say not limited to.
Yeah, and I think we were able to go through and do that. But it has to be voted on. It has to be voted on fairly quickly. So I think the hope is to put it on next week's agenda at the college meeting to vote on it at that time so that we can fulfill our legal requirements within the required time. So I believe we're going to be getting a revised policy through our email within the next week. And I know it's the hope of the superintendent that we, I guess if there's any issues with it, maybe address them.
And you'll be sure
before
to
the next
show
meeting.
the changes so that we can see
Absolutely,
the old document
yes.
with the new.
Yes, we'll make sure we get it. And I think the suggestions by the committee, the trustees, Bazzi, Lane, and Hamud, were tightened, like you said, tightened the language up, and it made it more inclusive of multiple situations. So appreciate the recommended changes, and we'll get those out.
One thing I just want to add, just for the audience's sake, basically, is although we had to add the terminology cyberbullying, don't think that that concept wasn't already in our policy to begin with. We had addressed that.
Well, and the policy as it was, I think, covered everything.
Yeah.
It was a matter of being over-inclusive, continuing to include and evolve and add more language as necessary, I think.
Yeah.
So.
And make sure that we absolutely complied with the law. Well, thank you very much for your work on that.
Thank you.
And
I learned that Trustee Lane is actually the attorney of the group.
Yes. Did we?
Taking lessons.
That's good to know.
Acknowledgement of correspondence. Nope. Board of Education business, board member committee and organization reports. We just had the policy committee update. Anything else? Anyone? Board member commentary?
Actually, Trustee Petlichkov, President McDonald, and I, along with Superintendent, got a chance to actually go on a tour.
Yes.
To see the new construction that's happening in various schools, and it was really nice to see how the bond is working, where the taxpayers' money's going, and all the new advancements happening at the schools that hopefully our students can take advantage of. It was really great to see. So that was nice.
And I suspect at this point in time, Fortson has enjoyed its new athletic field.
Yes.
And all of its facilities. It's a long time coming, and it was very much needed, so I was very impressed with what we've done with the bond money. I was a little bit concerned with these final change orders again. We always seem to come down to spending all of those last dollars on something when construction is nearing its closing. So, but it looks like the money's going into facilities that really needed some updating. So I think the community supporting the bond the way they did has invested wisely for our community.
And even people who don't live in the community will comment to me about how quickly it's and how efficiently it seems like the buildings have gone up and the additions have gone on. People in just driving, you know, we get so much traffic on Ford Road and so many people going to the arena out there, and people have commented about the schools kind of in that area. So, I mean, it's been great. Anyone else?
I just got to say too, Jeff and his crew, you know, going on those tours has really done a great job. And I know we have Don Ball here and Tom's coming in, but they've done a great job of managing those projects. And again, thank you to the taxpayers, the citizens of Dearborn, for investing in education for the students.
Absolutely. Well, when I used to go, I don't go to a lot of away games, athletic or musical events so much anymore, but it was always very clear that the citizens in our area wanted to invest in their schools, and not every community does that. Our schools look really excellent, and that means even we can stand up against the newest suburban districts, and we look pretty proud. So I'm always really like that our kids feel proud of their schools, and
Absolutely.
it's a real testament to the citizens who vote to do that.
Yeah.
It's a long history here of supporting the Dearborn Public Schools.
That's terrific.
Talking about student pride, I just have to add this. One of my sons said to me recently that they're very proud of the education that they've gotten in Dearborn, primarily because of the community and the diverseness of our community. He said that has helped him so much in his life because he's got a leg up on students and children that he sees that kind of live in a bubble.
Yep.
So he mentioned that, and I was kind of proud of him saying that to me. And he gets it, and I think that is something else that we really add to our students' learning and their success
experiences.
and experiences. One thing I would like to comment is welcome back to school, everyone, and I'm expecting wonderful things out of our new staff and our old staff, and here we go again with terrific things happening in Dearborn and a great school year off to a good start. So,
Can I ask something? I know I was at the first day of school with my kids and I saw David out there taking pictures. Are we going to see, I'm assuming he went to all the different schools, I'd love to see some of those pictures that were taken. Will they be displayed on the website? Will they be?
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna show. They actually created a slide presentation.
Oh,
so we'll
wonderful.
share it, and I think maybe on a blog or via social media.
We were going to do it during the music, but then they were all here, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we decided to focus on the band today rather than on us. So, but yeah, that we did put together a very nice collage of slides, and we'll make sure we get that out and share those pictures.
Great.
Wonderful. I really think that we've evolved to make it much easier for kids to transition to schools, different levels, and getting in. I was really impressed in the board packet with the gradual transition for the kindergartners, for the kids changing into middle and into high school. Linked Crew, which is one of Dr. Shankman's legacies, is a terrific thing, because I remember myself how stressful it was for me to go from an elementary into the big middle school. And who doesn't, in the olden days, maybe they don't cry anymore at kindergarten, since it's really nice that the parents go in and all of that. I remember several kindergarten groups that I went into, and if one kid started crying, the whole group was like dissolved in tears. And it's just really nice that that we have the gradual transition and that we've realized how to do it better. It's really terrific, and I really liked seeing that in the board briefs.
And it gives an opportunity to build relationships.
And I think it also helps the parents, because it's as stressful for the parents as it is for the students sometimes. So.
Speaking of new welcomes, we have 2 new cameramen, maybe a third here tonight also. And I appreciate them because they really show discipline in coming to all of our meetings, and I know it isn't always easy to listen to all of my discourses, so thank you in advance for your patience. May I make an announcement? I've noticed on the board when I'm riding my bike out, trying to get my little bit of exercise, Edsel Ford is having a college night. So all of the juniors and seniors should be thinking about it right now. I know all of the families in the district, whether they're at Fordson, Dearborn, or Edsel, are all welcome at the college night. And it's September 30th. I think it's 7 o'clock, but I'm not 100% sure. It might be in School Life, maybe. Oh, Rod remembers, of course. 6 o'clock, is it? 6 o'clock, thank you. Oh, what would I do without my friends? Thank you. So, yeah, I would just encourage any juniors who are really into organizing and getting started to think about it, and then seniors who will be applying, time to get on the ball right now. The sooner the better. So everybody is welcome to that, I'm sure. I think it's on the sign even that everyone is welcome. So
I'm going to add one other event as well. The annual Smoke on the Grill is coming up on October 1st. Oh, were you planning on it? We have flyers on, and is this on the website?
It's on the website, it's on the blog.
You can take a look on the website, on the blog. You can get tickets from your school's PTA. You can get tickets from their principals. So they're out there. You can come see me. I can get you a ticket. But this is an excellent family-friendly event. And it is an opportunity for us to have a little fun together. The food is halal, and the students, there's fun stuff for the kids to do. And the money that is raised for this event not only helps Dearborn Goodfellows, which they are a tremendous supporter of all of our students in the community, it also helps our local PTAs. So it goes to Dearborn students. It's an excellent, fun event, so I hope to see you out there. And there is always a huge, huge raffle with lots and lots of prizes and great things to win. So take a look, and please join us for this event. Anyone else?
Just a quick note, I think next week, Monday, isn't that open house for the elementary kids? Thursday. Is it Thursday? Or Thursday, what's Monday? Is there an open house on Monday? No?
It's a board meeting Monday.
I must have gotten, that's
Yeah.
why I was, you know what? I must have been looking at something.
Middle school is Wednesday and elementary's Thursday.
Okay.
All right. High school is tomorrow. That's what I thought. That's why I knew I wouldn't be able to make it.
All right, well, then that's it.
Okay. Next item, is there anything else? Any other commentary? Anything anyone wants to add?
requests for information and or future agenda items. I have a couple.
Yes, please.
I'd like to know the numbers on the school of choice and boundary line exemptions that are granted this past year. And then I had an international visitor, and I know that we get a lot of them because we're held in high esteem, not only in the U.S., but people actually have heard of us abroad, Dearborn Public Schools. But recently there was a visitor that I saw who was interested in restorative social practices. A lot of people don't know much about that, so Dr. Maleko, perhaps we could have, and President McDonald, perhaps we could have a presentation at some point in the next.
I think we recently didn't have one on restorative practices. Yes.
Oh.
Relatively recently.
I thought we did.
You can do another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good program, and I took a session at one of the MASB classes on restorative practices, and it makes a lot of sense.
Well, I heard some statistics, and I know that at least one of the schools has statistics from one year to the next after implementing the program on what kind of disciplinary changes there have been. So maybe that might be something to highlight also, because it's made a big difference as far as referrals for behavior.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I have clarification, please? If Trustee Mary Lane asks for something, do all the board members
Yes.
get the
Yes.
result? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, because I'd like to know.
Oh, I'm asking for
For a
also, I'd
report.
like to have a
Yeah.
report publicly for some of it.
Okay.
Anyone else?
And another thing that occurred to me is I don't know that we've had a presentation recently on parent groups, what parent groups there are at what schools, what types of things they're working on. So maybe someone else would be interested in
opportunities.
that as
And
well.
can we include in that, though, I would like to see how our parent liaisons in the buildings are interacting with the parent groups as well.
Okay. And I know Dr. Shankman and the executive directors put together a report, but we can definitely do a board brief report, but we can definitely do a presentation.
Always good to see their faces up there. Okay. Anything else, Annie? Okay, next item, please.
Superintendent's reports, personal commentary.
I just have a couple brief ones. I support what President McDonald talked about with the smoke on the grill. We also have the Education Foundation golf outing coming up on October 4th for anybody. That money does come back through grants to the school district. Even if you don't golf, there's opportunities to go to the dinner or the lunch, so I wanted to promote that for the Education Foundation. And then the last thing I just want to announce, opening day, not opening day, but opening week for the teachers and the faculty. I've been going out and giving presentations and speaking before the faculty. Some of the faculty couldn't be there, or they had different conflicts with, for example, the special education department. So we're also starting, along with the superintendent blog, we're going to start a superintendent monthly video program, and we'll be sending that information on the blog. So the first one is really a replication of the address I did before the faculty on September 3rd, so that those who weren't there would be able to view that. And we have that already up on YouTube, and we're going to send that out. I'll be sending that out tomorrow, actually, the link via the blog. So just wanted to and if it becomes popular, getting the information out, we will do that on a more regular basis, possibly not even monthly, but we could look at bi-weekly or every few weeks as well. So, and the students here are going to be the helpers with the video editing, so I look forward to working with all of them on the, so, that's it. Thank you.
Any other?
None.
Okay.
Next item, please.
Future meeting dates, Monday, September 21st, 2015, HFC, 7 p.m. at the Andrew Mazzara Services and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom, Henry Ford College. Monday, October 5th, P12 Board of Education Study Session at 6:30 p.m. in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Monday, October 12th, 2015, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 p.m. Did I miss something? Oh, okay, sorry. At the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom, Monday, October 19, 2015, HFC meeting, 7 p.m. at the Andrew Mazzara Services and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom, Henry Ford College.
We are adjourned.
That was the nice.